I am Chen Yan. For a long time, my life was shrouded in endless haze, silent, oppressive, and hopeless. While other teenagers spent their youth amid cicada songs, evening breezes, laughter, and family affection, mine was defined by silence, forbearance, caution, and endless suffering. I struggled in the mud, grew amid prejudice, and healed myself in loneliness, enduring year after year in solitude. It was not until Li Ran walked through the crowded world, dispelled all the gloom with sincerity and passion, and rushed into my bleak youth, that my gray life finally gained starlight, warmth, hope, and perfection. The tone of my life has been heavy and humble since childhood. I grew up in a family filled with constant quarrels, calculations, and negations. The estrangement and conflicts between my parents ran through my entire childhood and adolescence. My mother was vain, anxious, and overly concerned about worldly opinions. She bound all her unfulfilled expectations, life regrets, and grievances to me, treating me as a tool for reversal, a capital for showing off, and a facade for dignity. She never truly understood, pitied, or favored me. All her attention came from utilitarianism and vanity, not maternal tenderness. Constant suppression, repeated denial, and rigorous restraint became the norm of my life. In my mother's eyes, I was never good enough, never excellent enough, never able to meet her excessive expectations. She denied my efforts casually because of outsiders' words, crushed my confidence because of worldly comparison, and vented all her life frustrations on me. She taught me to endure, to be sensible, to abide by rules, and to avoid trouble, but never taught me to love myself, to affirm myself, or to accept preference calmly. Since childhood, I have been humble, timid, sensitive, and insecure, used to pleasing others, yielding silently, hiding emotions and desires, and bearing all grievances alone. My father was reticent, cowardly, and evasive, always absent in family conflicts. He never propped up a shelter for me, never spoke a fair word for me, never protected me even a little. Cowardly and detached, he watched me being wronged, ignored, and hurt without a single word of defense. For a long time, I was the most redundant, transparent, and insignificant person in my family. No preference, no protection, no understanding, only endless pressure, restraint, and internal friction. Others' homes are harbors, retreats, and confidence. Mine is the source of all my inferiority, sensitivity, and unease, a cage I spent years trying to escape. The shackles of my original family were deeply engraved in my bones, shaping my reserved, introverted, and love-starved personality. I am taciturn, dislike liveliness, hate competition, used to being alone, reducing my sense of existence, and living transparently and humbly. I dared not expect preference, dare not crave tenderness, dare not be unrestrained and bold. Fearful of mistakes, prejudice, denial, and abandonment, I remained obedient, cautious, and the most insignificant person in the crowd. I end my school years. Studying was my only way out, my only confidence, and my only salvation. Without prominent family background, parental protection, or unrestrained growth capital, the only thing I could control and rely on was my own diligence. Therefore, I studied desperately, brushed countless exercises day and night, and devoted myself fully to examinations. I transformed all grievances, unwillingness, and desire for escape into the power of writing, cultivating myself silently in the sea of books and questions. For me, excellent grades were never a gift of talent, but the only weapon to fight fate, break free from shackles, and redeem myself. I lived quietly, worked low-key, and never caused trouble, thinking such obedience would let me survive the oppressive teenage years and move toward my own future steadily. Yet worldly prejudice and malice never showed mercy because of my forbearance and humility. Due to my special family situation and introverted personality, I became the target of discussion, exclusion, and criticism. I was labeled weird, cold, and unsociable, gradually marginalized by the surrounding world. In those years, I witnessed the coldest human hearts and experienced the most piercing malice. Whispers, pointing fingers, and deliberate isolation entangled and stung me day after day like dense thorns. I fell into repeated self-doubt, believing I was born gloomy and humble, unworthy of gentle treatment and sincere preference. I closed myself layer by layer, hid my sincerity and desires, and turned into an isolated island with no one approaching, understanding, or saving me. Just when I thought my youth would forever remain silent, gray and desolate, Li Ran appeared. Like a sudden beam of light piercing the long night, he broke into my haze-filled world with passion, candor, vitality, and freedom, shattering my years of silence and closure, illuminating all my inferiority and timidity, and warming all my grievances and loneliness. He was utterly different from me, bright, unrestrained, open, and free, growing up in a warm family with a cheerful personality, living the vivid and brilliant life I had always envied but never dared to touch. At first, I retreated, resisted, and dared not approach instinctively. I clearly knew we belonged to two completely different worlds. He was the unrestrained and bright sun, while I was gloomy, reclusive, and shackled moss. Humble, sensitive, and insecure, I feared my haze would drag down his brightness, my heavy past would tarnish his pure candor, and my habitual silence would fail his passionate preference. Therefore, I distanced myself deliberately, pretended to be cold and indifferent, and pushed him away repeatedly. Yet Li Ran never retreated because of my coldness, never gave up because of my eccentricity, never left because of my gloom. While others only saw my cold and withdrawn appearance, he penetrated my icy disguise and closed shell, seeing the hidden tenderness, forbearing kindness, unknown grievances, and fragility deep in my heart. When everyone judged, criticized, and alienated me, only he walked firmly toward me, guarded me tenderly, and favored me blatantly and unswervingly. He was the first person to see through my pretended strength, understand all my duplicity, and pity all my solitary perseverance. He knew that beneath my cold alienation lay extreme lack of love and longing for tenderness. Beneath my obedient forbearance lay endless unwillingness and desire for freedom. My habitual compromise came from never being firmly chosen or sincerely favored. Therefore, he warmed, healed, and upheld me little by little with the most passionate, candid, and straightforward way, letting me gradually believe that I need not be humble or forbear forever, that I deserved preference, protection, and firm choice. He guarded me blatantly, blocking all external rumors, malice, prejudice, and harm for me. He accompanied me patiently, tolerating my silence, accepting my sensitivity, and soothing my unease gently. He affirmed and praised me firmly repeatedly, telling me I was good, excellent, and worthy of all tenderness and preference in the world, gradually dismantling the inferiority and self-negation rooted in my heart for years. When everyone urged me to be sensible and tolerant, only Li Ran told me I need not compromise, could be brave, bold, and true to myself. His appearance was the only salvation in my gray youth. I used to be accustomed to walking alone, healing myself and relying on no one, thinking life could only be endured by my own strength. But Li Ran let me know how warm, steady, and reassuring it is to be firmly favored, fully protected, and sincerely missed. His passion melted my coldness, his candor healed my timidity, his freedom led me out of shackles, and his sincerity filled all the emptiness in my life. Young love is pure and flawless. My crush on Li Ran began with amazement, deepened by tenderness, and lasted for true sincerity. I loved his passion, candor, freedom, and kindness, his blatant preference, unwavering protection, and unreserved sincerity, his willingness to embrace my gloom with his brightness and accompany me out of darkness toward light. This love was the only light in my gray years, the only sweetness in my forbearing life, and the only salvation in my long suffering. Yet the deeper I loved, the more timid and anxious I became. I knew I was full of shackles, heaviness, and weaknesses, while he deserved unrestrained growth, carefree days, and a bright future. I feared my original family, my sensitive inferiority, and my oppressive past would trap and drag him down. I thought I was unworthy of his brightness, freedom, and unreserved passion. Therefore, I restrained my feelings, hid my crush, and pushed my beloved away repeatedly, choosing regret and loneliness rather than hindering his future. Young us eventually succumbed to realistic shackles, distance, and divergent growth paths. We met, loved, and healed each other in the most ignorant, pure, and passionate years, yet were forced to separate, pursue our own paths, and grow independently in the most powerless age. With endless reluctance, regret, and attachment, I pushed away the only light in my life, choosing to bear all storms, shackles, and sufferings alone. I thought letting go was fulfillment and protection, that keeping my gloom away from him would let him stay bright and unrestrained forever. The years apart became a long and lonely journey of self-salvation. With longing for him, regret for the past, and expectation for self-improvement, I persisted and grew desperately. I still studied hard and strove for distant goals, gradually escaping the oppressive original family, breaking free from worldly prejudice, dismantling inner inferiority and timidity, and learning self-love, independence, candor, and bravery. I gradually shed my youthful humility and timidity, abandoned habitual pleasing and compromise, and eliminated inner gloom and sensitivity, growing into a steady, transparent, gentle, and firm adult. I no longer relied on others' preference for confidence, no longer consumed myself by others' opinions, no longer denied myself because of family shackles. I learned to reconcile with myself, the past and regrets, standing firmly on my own feet, supporting my life with my own efforts, and becoming my own confidence, salvation, and sunshine. Through years of precipitation and perseverance, I finally survived all darkness, grievances, and hardships, growing into an independent, sober, gentle, and powerful version of myself. I was no longer the timid, humble, and silent little girl hiding in the corner. I gained the ability to survive, the confidence to behave, the courage to love, and the determination to cherish myself. I finally broke free from family cages and worldly restraints, walking out of youthful haze into a broader, brighter, and freer world. After years of separation, Liran and I reunited unexpectedly. At that moment, I suddenly understood that true love is never diluted by time, scattered by distance, or smoothed by regret. Young affection was too pure, sincere, and profound, rooted in my bones and integrated into my years. For so many years, I grew, healed and strengthened alone, seemingly enduring all hardships by myself. Yet in truth, his youthful preference and tenderness supported me through all dark and difficult days, giving me the courage to fight the world, break free from shackles, and embrace new life. Reunion made me thoroughly realize that letting go in youth was never an end, but a preparation for a better reunion. Restraint was never lack of love, but the most pure, forbearing, and affectionate devotion of youth. Young me was inferior, timid, and shackled, incapable of standing side by side with him or loving him properly. Adult me is independent, sober, confident, and radiant, finally able to love sincerely, equally, and firmly for a lifetime. The best love is never a vigorous teenage impulse, but mutual devotion, healing, and perfection after years of precipitation, separation, regret, and independent growth. In youth, he illuminated my darkness, healed my loneliness, and upheld my growth. In adulthood, I shed my inferiority, gained edge, and returned sincerely to stand with him, accompany him through years, and fulfill our lifelong destiny. We met in the brightest age, grew separately in the most powerless days, and loved again in the most mature and candid years, living up to our first encounter, fleeting time and sincere hearts. I finally dare to admit frankly that I have always loved him, from teenage crush to years of precipitation, unchanged, unforgotten, and never abandoned. I love his passionate and straightforward preference in youth, his unwavering and blatant protection, his sincere and unchanging original heart through years, and his candid and gentle appearance after worldly tempering. It was him who led me from darkness to light, timidity to bravery, humility to candor, loneliness to perfection. Without him, there would be no the gentle, firm, independent, and sober me today. After half a lifetime of storms and years of precipitation, I finally comprehend the true meaning of love and growth. Growth means breaking free from shackles, self-salvation, and self-illumination, living beautifully and candidly without relying on anyone. Love means mutual healing, fulfillment, and achievement. You guard my innocence and warm my years in youth, and I accompany you through life and traverse mountains and seas in adulthood. We are independent and excellent individually, yet wholeheartedly devoted, persistent, and affectionate to each other. I once thought I was born gloomy and regretful, unworthy of being loved. Now I finally accept my past, tolerate my weaknesses, and affirm my own radiance. I am no longer defined by my original family, bound by youthful regrets, or restricted by inferiority and sensitivity. I am Chen Yan, gentle after storms, sincere after darkness, passionate after loneliness. I walked out of the mud and haze through my own efforts, transformed into a new self, and guarded my love, future, and life with true sincerity. My greatest luck is meeting you in youth, favored and protected blatantly and unswervingly by you. My greatest perfection is growing through years to finally deserve your sincerity, preference, and lifelong mutual devotion. Thank you for walking through crowds to heal my gloom, waiting for my return through fleeting years, tolerating all my past, accepting all my weaknesses, and loving every part of me. For the rest of my life, the world is vast and years are gentle. I am no longer alone, no longer insignificant, no longer shrouded in darkness. I possess the ability to heal myself, the courage to love, and the determination to stay. With youthful sincerity, temporal precipitation, and growth confidence, I will love you wholeheartedly, live earnestly, and embrace our years to come. Thank you for waiting, loving, protecting, and believing in me for so many years. For the rest of our lives, I will accompany, cherish, guard, and stay with you forever, never abandoning, living up to our deep affection and peaceful years.